He was once the strongest warrior god in the world. Destroyed the boss of the Tower of Destruction by himself. Prevented the world from ending. However, due to serious injuries, life and death effects, now reincarnated into the world 300 years later. But once again I learned news about the upcoming appearance of the Tower of Destruction. And in today's world, the world is run by 5 major families. Because these 5 major families has a very powerful guardian constellation. Usually, hunters can be protected by guardian constellations. But the guardian constellations of the 5 major families essentially different from other constellations. Sword God, Gun, Ghost Sword King, Boxing King, Bow God. They are collectively called the guardian saint ancestors by the 5 major families. And the hunter who is a member of the family, able to acquire more outstanding talents than other hunters. And at this time, man is very happy to have his life restored. But soon, a pop-up window in front of him gave him a hard time. Because the Tower of Destruction will appear in 5 years. Damn, I should have known this would happen. It should have been completely thrown into the lava from the beginning. So the man decided, this time we must completely clear out the Tower of Destruction. Then spend the rest of your life peacefully. But then a pop-up window caught his attention. I saw it clearly described above. Go to Valhalla Academy. In the 5th room on the right on the 3rd floor. Looking for dance equipment and memories. So men must first enter Valhalla Academy. And Valhalla, it is one of the 3 largest hunter training academies in the world. There are a large number of hunters every year, all provided by Valhalla Academy. But his admission success rate is even less than 1/1,000. And not even 150 people graduate from the academy each year. But even so, men still choose participated in the college's entrance selection. However, his opponent, but it's the legendary genius girl Lu Suyin. She is from the 5 major families. One of the geniuses who came from a reforming family. Can control magic at just 10 years old. At the age of 15, you can master the history of swordsmanship. And in the written examination meeting of the 16-year-old family hunter, he also won with a complete victory attitude. Even the senior combat instructor in the audience. They all felt that the man in front of them had no chance of winning. But the man looked unconcerned. As the countdown ends, Lu Suyin took the lead in launching an attack on the man. I saw a slash coming down. An extremely fierce sword energy, rushing towards the man. Even the instructor was amazed by this. Young. How could he control his magic power so perfectly? But men gamble sideways. But the next second, everyone showed very unbelievable faces. Because Lu Suyin was punched by a man and knocked to the ground. And he also found it unbelievable. Why will humans be so weak 300 years from now? The screen changes. The man at this time is participating in the 2nd selection. And his opponent is Wu Shaihe, the eldest son of the Wu Shan family. He knows nothing about strategic boxing or knowledge. But he still has a unique talent. That is the body. Things that others have to grind to do. He just needs some exercise to become stronger. Only with this innate physical ability, he is enough to be called a genius. However, looking at the man's unconcerned look on his face, he thought this battle would be easier. So he started talking nonsense towards Jinzuhe. And the man kindly gave him memories. At the same time, selection officially begins. I saw him taking the lead in punching the man. Men, on the other hand, can tell at a glance. Your own current body. You can't confront him head on. But this does not mean that there is nothing you can do if your body is strong. I saw him punch out violently. The man ducked sideways. Then he kicked him out. He lost his balance on the spot. Then I saw the man's hands condensing magic power. Then hit him hard in the abdomen. Knocked him out on the spot. If the limbs are not coordinated, it will become like this. In the end, the selection ended with the man winning. Then I saw him calmly walking out of the college. Only everyone was left talking in the same place. They didn't expect it either. How could OSE Hyuk be defeated by such a simple attack? As a boxing champion, Woo Jae-sing could tell at a glance. This man is not as simple as imagined. Because just now, after OSE Hyuk was angered by a man, decisively launched an attack. He even used magic that he has never used before. But the man instantly dodged his attack. He even kicked out his left foot very consistently, causing him to lose his balance. This has clearly revealed a suitable offensive route long ago. The reaction: that guy has monster talents. For this he must do everything he can to bring him into the family. At the same time, the top 10 results of the college selection competition are released. Congratulations on a gold set. He was once the strongest warrior god in the world. He single-handedly prevented the world from ending. However, he was reimbursed due to serious injuries and death. Even though he has been reincarnated now, he has become a useless person without magic power, but still with overwhelming strength. The genius who defeated the 5 major families. Just now, the man won it without any suspense. College tryout winner. But when he walked out of the academy, we received an overwhelming number of interviews. So he responded in a very friendly way. The screen changes. The man at this time was attending the opening ceremony of the college. And he showed no interest in the history of the college. But then I discovered there are many people watching him secretly. It seems to be from yesterday. Action is too eye-catching. But he didn't care either. Because he just needs to investigate what is hidden on the 3rd floor of the academy. Then he would secretly leave the school. A moment later, Instructor Jin Lilan looked at the students in front of him, lost in thought. Because there are 3 people in the class he wants to lead. They are all geniuses from the 5 major families. Not to mention there is a dark horse Kim Juhyeok. This is the biggest scene he has ever seen in his career. But he soon calmed down. Then I will introduce to everyone. I am the teacher of this course. Then he pressed the keyboard in front of him. The next second they all arrived in the virtual suburbs. Just when everyone is at a loss, they saw a group of monsters suddenly appearing in front of them. After preliminary judgment, number of goblins and orcs, probably around 100 or so. But luckily, they are staying in a safe, protected area. And this is exactly the test that the instructor prepared for everyone. At the same time, I saw the instructor motioning for the man to come over and ask him, is it possible to protect everyone in this situation? Originally, the instructor just wanted to take this opportunity, give his spirit a good rub. Unexpectedly, the man had a wicked smile on his face. Then he immediately agreed. And the instructor thought he was bluffing. But what the man said next made him pay for it. If he kills all the monsters, protected everyone, so what kind of reward can he get? So, the instructor decided to agree to do something for the man, as a reward for passing the test. Then the man readily agreed. Then I asked the instructor for accessories. After all, he can't fight monsters with his bare hands, right? A moment later, I saw the protective cover door slowly opening, under the gaze of everyone. Just the moment of drawing the sword, the man wiped out all the goblins in front of him, kill several times and then turn around. Another group of orcs were brutally wiped out. Although he has not held a long sword in 300 years, but he still uses it skillfully. Because in the past, to survive in a world full of monsters, they used many weapons. The long sword is used as the main weapon. At the same time, only one orc in sight. He suddenly launched an attack on the man. But the man is hiding in an instant. The attack method of this virtual monster, still too single. Then he killed him with one blow. However, the instructor at this time looked in disbelief. Because of that cheap iron sword. It actually becomes so sharp in a man's hands. It's like the iron sword has firmly absorbed the monster. This situation. Even the geniuses from the 5 major families. I find it unbelievable. As the man puts away the iron sword. I want to go to the constellation room. Then. I saw that the man had already destroyed all the monsters. So you will keep your promise, right? The legendary 3's level power of the Holy Sea. To be guarded by an outsider with no magic power. Faced with such a rare power of the Holy Sea. However, the man refused on the spot. Just now. Man alone. Destroyed all the monsters. A moment later. The instructor announced the end of get out of class. The man, on the other hand, has a look of despair on his face. Because he had only taught students before. But I've never been to school. Although class is very boring. But he is more or less. I still found out about the constellations. In the world of his lifetime. There is no such thing as a constellation. However, he roughly sorted out the following information. Holy Sea. It is a title given to those who have achieved great achievements and become gods. Constellations. Most hunters are related to constellations. As a hunter's sacred relic. The zodiac signs will give them special power. And Valhalla. It is one of the colleges that has many sacred relics of the constellations. Leftover. It's just useless information about how to kill monsters. So the man decided to go back and exercise first. But at this moment, a white-haired girl immediately stopped him. The other side is in the teacher's office. The instructor is facing everything that just happened. Unbelievable. Because of a fledgling boy. He actually killed more than 120 monsters by himself. But at this time, the instructor Lee Zyong became interested. But he was not on the background of men. Find any clues. Even his status as he entered the academy. No problem. But, what are the requirements for men who want to enter the zodiac room? At present, the instructor's authority can only go to the basement level. But now he is very worried about the future. Because there is not only Jin Zuhi in his class. There are also 3 geniuses from the 5 major families. Although I don't know how to comfort you. But your Taoist priest next door is here. A Ventric family exchange. Ventric's immediate family Rockdill. Is it actually that guy? I heard he was expelled from school for causing trouble. The instructor who heard the news. I felt a lot more relaxed instantly. At the same time, I saw the white-haired girl talking to the man. He murmured, "Please call me swordsmanship." But the man immediately refused. Because he doesn't like making friends. But the girl didn't intend to give up just yet. The helpless man finally refused again. Then he turned and left. The screen changes. At this moment, the man looked at his palms and fell into deep thought. Because his physical condition is beyond his imagination. This body has almost no magic power. Even the operation of magic is very difficult. Not to mention practicing. But if you can find that thing, that's a different story. For this he must prepare magic power in case of emergency. At the same time, Rockdial came to the man. But the man didn't know him at all. Don't you even know the Ventric family? So, he stated that he was a direct member of Ventric's family. Rockdial. Then he asked the man directly. Do you want to become stronger? Usually, direct family than collateral family have more power and wealth. In the Ventric family, there is a masked constellation guardian. This makes the Ventric family different from other families. Normally, the family will have a constellation guardian of S level or above. Protect. They will choose the members of the constellation and give them power. But the Ventric family chose an outsider. Come and sign a contract with the constellations. This action. The power of the Ventric family spread rapidly. because it is backed by such a huge family. So Rockdial became very arrogant. But then he caused trouble in the college, and was fired on the spot. And in order to be able to return to the academy, so he must make a huge contribution to the family. So he found a man, just to make men the guardians of the family. However, the man refused on the spot. This is a keyhole that cannot be opened with a key. A key that can only be created with its own magic power, to be able to open it. And just now, faced with Rockdial's invitation, the man refused on the spot. Because he thought from the beginning, Rockdial is showing off his family. Not to mention the legendary holy works. He actually has to leave it to outsiders to protect him. Therefore, Rockdial immediately felt that the man looked down on him. And just when the two were about to clash, the arrival of the instructor stopped all this in time. Because no matter how prominent a family is, just stay in this academy. You must obey the instructors here. Then I saw Dil leave angrily. And leave the next sentence, we will definitely see you again. Kim Juhyeok. The screen changes. The man is feeling very irritable at the moment. Because not only did I not get any useful information today, he even got involved with a family. And even the many labor unions outside, they are all constantly probing him. At the same time, the white-haired girl from yesterday found a man again. Please call me swordsmanship. The other side, Dil was furious when he returned home. He swore, I will definitely regain my face from Jinzuhi. At the same time, he told Yuri beside him to contact Dezera immediately. But Yuri just sat there and did nothing. So he angered him again. Don't think you are still a princess of the royal family. Without Dil, he had already gone to the street to beg for food. Contact Dezera now. Tell him there's a guy who needs fixing. I heard that there is a son from the Ross family in the 2nd grade. Arrange for me to meet him immediately. Then Yuri agreed. At the same time, the man at this moment is condensing his magic power. But in less than a moment, he started breathing heavily. Because the physical quality of this picture is really poor. And he remembered the day. In order to dissuade the white-haired girl, want to learn swordsmanship. So he started teaching a class. Outrageous demand for payment of 10 million yuan. I want him to quit before the difficulties. But I didn't expect that he was a mobile phone that was about to come. He transferred 100 million in remuneration to the man on the spot. This can mess up a man. So can you teach me now? But the man still refused. And returned the reward. Just a student. How could it be possible to pay so much? Although that is a large amount of money. But as long as I find that thing, then these won't matter. Then I saw him getting ready to go. Now he's going to find the secret vault. A moment later, the man came to the back of the college. And before he came here, he did a thorough investigation. Although the hidden mark made 300 years ago, most have been destroyed. But according to the investigation, there should be about 4 places left. And what he can be sure of now is that they're hiding in the mountains behind Valhalla. So he used magic power to sense the surroundings. Soon, he then noticed a place with blue light. Immediately afterwards, this was excavated. A moment later, the man finally dug to the door of the vault. And looking at the keyhole in the ground, I saw the man slowly condensing his magic power. Soon, a key made of magic appeared out of thin air. Then he came to the vault. And what comes into view is countless wealth. A man keeps gold worth hundreds of billions and doesn't want it. Turn around and pick up the inconspicuous broken stone. Because this is the legendary storage stone. The user can seal his own magic power within it. He once stored his magic power in stone, just to prepare for emergencies in the future. Then I saw him put it into the palm of his hand. A moment. A steady stream of magic power surged into his body. It seems that this is really a storage stone. And next, all he has to do is deal with the remaining stones. The screen changes. Man, after a busy day. At this moment I just feel exhausted physically and mentally. Kui Yeling on the side is still pestering the man. He wants to learn men's sword skills. In his memory, among the 5 major families, the Kui Zhen family, to which Kui Yeling belongs, is a family famous for its swordsmanship. But why does he want to learn swordsmanship from men? Because he has never seen it. A being who can use swordsmanship better than men. Just when the two of them wanted to continue talking, the instructor on the side called the man away. It turns out that it was the man who promised to pass the test last time. Reward awareness. Then the man got up and left the classroom, longing for Kui Yeling's disappointed expression. So the man told him, "Come to the training ground at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. The man will teach him a lesson step by step." A moment later. What are the requirements for men who want to enter the Zodiac room? Got approval. But this is only limited to the first basement floor, because entry and exit are prohibited from the second underground floor onwards. After fully understanding the details, so the man decided to go to the underground floor that night. Then he turned and left. The screen changes. The two arrived at their destination. And here is the treasure of Valhalla Academy. Constellation room. Because it's in Valhalla Academy, the most important room. So the security facilities here are very tight, even protected by various magics. But the man is still very curious. How to get to the second basement floor? It's out of the question, because you will be expelled from the college on the spot. Besides, there is a lot of magic power on the second underground floor. The moment you come into contact with magic, your spirit will collapse instantly. After understanding everything, the man came to the Constellation room. And he doesn't care about being expelled from the academy, because when he first came to the academy, just to go to the third underground floor. So he started moving towards the third underground floor. But soon he found himself lost. At the same time, a message came from the window. The man has met the conditions and is entering the room. And the next second he was teleported to a different space. But when he opens his eyes, discover, what stands in front of me is actually the Tower of Destruction from 300 years ago. Wang Beiji. I didn't expect that we would meet again in this way after 300 years. But before he finished speaking, the man punched to the face. I'm glad to see you again. Reunion after more than 300 years. Unexpectedly, it started with an angry fist. Originally, Beiji wanted to persuade him to calm down. Unexpectedly, Beiji responded with a storm of fists. And he is not such an unreasonable person. But because Beiji appeared again, leading to his supposed leisurely life changed. So he vented his dissatisfaction towards Beiji. But then Beiji's words. But it made him freeze in place. Aren't you curious about where this place is? Only then did the man realize. There's nothing here. Because this is an imaginary world. To be exact, he is a space in the ruins. And Beiji in front of men. Just a virtual fantasy. His real body actually disappeared 300 years ago. Have you always stayed in a place like this? Beiji gave a positive answer to this. Is it possible that you have already? Yes, he has become a saint. Upon hearing this, the man punched him in the face again. This is really bad. A moment later, I saw the man slowly walking out of the door. When faced with the instructor's inquiry, the man said that he did not go to the third underground floor. Because I don't want to go crazy yet. Then he turned and left. On the way he recalled the previous. In fact, a man doesn't care whether he becomes a saint ancestor or not. He just wants to know. Was that prompt window done by Beiji? But Beiji had no idea about this. But obviously the man didn't believe what he said. So Beiji quickly explained to him, because he also received a similar window prompt. He was notified from above to contact the reincarnated Kim Juhyeok and help it retrieve its memory. And this also reminded Beiji of a character. And doubt, did he just let Beiji become the Tower of Destruction? The man behind the bar. But who is he? Even Beiji had no idea about this, because he lost this part of his memory. But he was curious about what notification the man would receive. It only says to let the man recover his weapons and memories. But the following information is blocked, so there is no way to know. But the man didn't realize that he had lost those memories because of that scene in Tower of Destruction. He still remembers it fresh. Maybe you just haven't remembered it yet. And now you've also found a weapon. Then the previous memories should slowly be restored. But the man acted very confused. Why did he say that the man had found a weapon? Because this is a space temple. The inner world of weapon-swallowing sword. He has become a relic. And the reason why he can become a saint, it's entirely because this weapon is a holy garment. Upon hearing this, the man immediately became extremely angry. At the same time, unexpectedly, not only the village sword became a sacred item of clothing, even that Beiji became a saint. Although he really wanted to destroy the 8 banners. But currently, he still needs the village ship to meet the conditions on the window. At this time, I saw a group of gangsters walking towards the man. And he recognized it at a glance. They came here intentionally to cause trouble. Facing the scolding of gangsters, the man kicked him away on the spot. Stop whining. Come here quickly. This is a tragedy caused by a skullbag. As a second-year student who signed a contract with a constellation, but was raped by a fledgling boy. He was unable to fight back. Just now, in the face of their provocation, the man kicked out suddenly. He kicked him dozens of meters away on the spot. But when they come to their senses, the man has already taken out his weapon. Come here quickly. And just 3 hours ago, Dill found him and asked him to fix someone up. If that is the case, Dill will help the Sun family. And that person is the first-year student Ching's Hizuk. Then he agreed. Because there are fundamental differences between first grade and second grade. Only students who have signed a contract with the constellation, just called second grade. Originally he thought he could repair it easily. I didn't expect it to be this kind of scene. I saw the man only using the scabbard. You can beat him to the ground and run away. The fat man next to him just took out a knife. He was knocked away with a single blow from the man. At the same time, the enemy picked up a wooden stick and struck at the man. But it came to nothing. At this time, the man had already come to her side in an instant. He immediately gave him a head-on blow. Even the blonde man next to me found it unbelievable. Because as a sophomore student, he was actually beaten by a man until he was unable to fight back. And what is going on with his strange swordsmanship? Looks like random tapping. But the people around him were seriously injured. Seeing the man approaching them step by step, so the blonde man decided to attack him. And the next second, the man has already come to him and pressed a bow and arrow against his abdomen. Then I saw his hand suddenly exerting force. Then he fainted on the spot. So the man woke him up in a very kind way and asked him why he was causing trouble for him. But they didn't live together. It was Deer's idea. It seems that you are very loyal. Then the man decided to leave here. But he doesn't intend to let the man go, and threatened to spread the news. If the school knew about this, then he will definitely be fired on the spot. But men don't care about it. If you let others know, you guys in second grade can't beat a first grader. Wouldn't that be ridiculous? So you should think carefully about it. At the same time, Dill is waiting for good news from the blonde man. Didn't expect. The first sentence he said was, he will never do such a thing again. From now on, he will stay away from people like Kim Juhyeok. Although Deer offered to stay with their family temporarily, and all he needs to do is report it to the academy. He also refused, because it will be about their honor. From then on, Dill immediately broke his cell phone in anger. Then he asked Yuri, "Have you contacted Desera?" Yuri responded in the affirmative. But he is far away now, and it will take a certain amount of time for him to get here. So where is he? The other side is in Arapia College. At this moment, Desera is finishing a group of students, and he got the call. Repair the character named Kim Juhyeok. You can get a lot of bounties. Just as I. When facing a group of monsters, how do you cope? The man's answer is to kill them all. A seemingly perfect answer. But the instructor judged it to be 0 points. Just now, Desera gets the call. As long as he can go back and fix the man, then he will receive a very generous bounty. At the same time, the man came to the academy's training ground. I didn't expect the training ground here to be so big. But then a voice called out to the man, "Why did you come to this place?" At this time, the man still had no idea what was happening. He thought it was Beiji who escaped from the village sword. In that case, he needs to be beaten up. Then throw it back into the sword. Then he started his warm-up exercises. But is this really okay? They come out. At the same time, he also brought Murakami out. But Beiji said there was no need to worry at all, because he already made a replica. Put it back in place. But the man is curious about where his abilities come from. However, he said he had no idea. It seems like Beiji doesn't know much. At the same time, I saw Kui Yalin watching the man from the side. And when he thought he could start learning swordsmanship, the man refused. Because what he wants to do now, it is to improve one's endurance. If you increase your endurance, then he will be able to better absorb and control magic power. But today's training methods place great emphasis on magic power, but ignored the improvement of one's own endurance. At the same time, Kui Yalin completed the warm-up exercise. And then comes the real training. 3,000 push UPS, 6,000 squats, 8,000 hard mom dumbbells. A moment later, I saw Kui Yalin panting and falling to the ground. But the man at this time said that this was just the beginning, because there is still a 20-kilometer long run waiting for her. The screen changes. Today they will face a test. And the person who spoke, he is the senior instructor in charge of the Maze Monster course. Lilia followed. He took out a stack of test papers. He wants to know, how do they deal with monsters alone? Only saw, when everyone is anxious about the test papers. But only the man looked calm. As the instructor shouted stop, everyone started to submit papers one after another. And their next class will be a virtual battle. At this time, Beiji said, I didn't expect you to be able to write this. But he said, I just wrote down my usual answers. The other side is in the instructor's office in Valhalla. At this moment, Lily was feeling extremely angry, because Kim Juhyeok actually wrote nonsense into the test paper. Is his answer written incorrectly? In Lily's view, this kind of answer is completely making fun of the whole class. So she decided to do it in the next practical test. Educate her well. She wants men to know, those monsters are not easy to deal with. The screen changes. Lily loved criticizing a man in public, because it's on the test paper. No matter what kind of monster you are dealing with, the man's answer is to kill him. This made the instructor feel that his own intelligence was insulted. it seems. The man was very confident in her answer. Then he pressed the test button. This ordinary treadmill. It is actually the most critical factor in improving one's own strength. Because only by improving one's own physical fitness, in order to better absorb and control magic power. But today's hunters only focus on improving their magic power, but ignore the importance of improving physical fitness. Just now, the instructor pressed the test button. Immediately afterwards, he was transported to the virtual space. At this time, the instructor said to him, if a man could kill him, then he is willing to change the score for him. Then I saw the man choose a long sword that was handy. Then he slowly walked towards the monster. Although he heard that a man once defeated 120 monsters alone. But that's a rock goblin. You can't kill it with just a long sword. At the same time, both sides suddenly launched an attack. And the next second, under the instructor's shocked expression, I saw that the sword had pierced the monster's chest. Then he disappeared from their sight on the spot. Is it okay now? But everyone looked in disbelief. He was able to kill him with just a broken sword. Even the instructor is very curious. How on earth did he do it? And if you want to rely on a long sword to kill goblins, then how much should your own strength be? So my answer is correct. Is that right? But the instructor is not to be outdone. Then he pressed the test button again. Next second, I saw the man was teleported to another scene. Next, he will deal with the group of goblins in front of him alone. And this group of goblins has a special characteristic. It's very difficult to defeat them alone. Because if not handled properly, they will use the howl skill. Summons all nearby monsters to appear. Usually, normal people would choose to run away when encountering this group of monsters. So how do men deal with them? I saw him slowly fiddling with the long sword in his hand. And in the next second, it happened with lightning speed. Instantly killed the monster in front of him. A moment later, all monsters were destroyed on the spot. And this is the man's answer. The screen changes. The two are exercising on the training ground. But in less than a moment, Juhyeok fell to the ground tiredly. Just such a simple training. It can make you fall to the ground tired. In case of encountering a monster, how do you cope? But he explained it. He can draw on the power of the members of the constellation to work your magic. It was just as the man expected. The reason why they don't improve their physical strength, it's because they rely too much on the power of zodiac signs. But the risk is very huge. I accidentally got trapped in the copy. Or maybe it's because the long battle has exhausted all the magic power. Or maybe members of the Holy See are unwilling to lend their power. Then he asked Juhyeok this kind of training method, whether it can improve his own quality. Of course, because as long as you can learn swordsmanship, he is willing to do anything. So, the man signaled that his training for today was over. Because it's almost class time. But he still needs to stay and practice a few more sets. A moment later. Beiji is very good. Strange. Why has he never complained about the way men train? Because she is pestering the man to learn swordsmanship. Has the man ever demonstrated his swordsmanship in front of her? But she denied it. It should be during class. She noticed the moment she used sword skills. Just observe. You can notice the power of swordsmanship at a glance. That's why the man wants to teach her some skills. And at this time, the man noticed. At this time, Wu Shishi had just finished exercising. Men exercise more than 20 hours a day. Because he has an extremely weak body. Not only will I be sweating profusely while sitting. Even if I work hard, I feel like my body will fall apart. Just now. Only then did the man realize. It turns out that OSE Hyeok also exercises here. And men are curious. When did he come here? Been here since just now. Because he is used to exercising before class. It seems that he can exercise for such a long time. It's entirely because he was born with grains. Then I saw him turn around and leave. But he is much smarter than those who only exercise their magic power. But what are those saints doing? And Beiji, who is also a saint, but had no idea about it, because he has been trapped in a different space for more than 300 years. If men complete those tasks, I guess I can get more information. At the same time, information prompts coming from the window. Travel to the eye of the great forest in Valhalla. Enter Lorna's room to get the heaven. Need to meet certain conditions. It's actually the eye of the forest. It is said, that's the last place to live on the course. Original. The man wants to get something and then leave here. But at present it seems, in order to obtain enough information, he must complete these tasks first. And now the secret of reincarnation is about to be revealed. Revealed at the same time. At the Vendrick family mansion. Patriarch Adelia is listening to reports from his subordinates. Reading suburb maze has been completely solved. And he wants to recruit a few right-hand assistants. One of them is a survivor of the Robert family. They are all Sinyas with power and above. So the Patriarch agreed. If they can pass the test, then you can get Ventrick's blessing. But at this time, the housekeeper looked embarrassed. Is there anything else? I need to report to you about Rockdial. Desera was summoned to Valhalla Academy. Is it actually that guy? Desera is a disgrace to the Vendrick family. The crimes committed alone amount to centuries. He was only 19 years old and killed 5 students because of an argument. Finally, at the age of 20, he was expelled from the Vendrick family. Could it be that Rokadir had a deal with Desera? Then he signaled the butler to monitor Rockdial at all times. And tell him, if he did something weird, then he will be expelled from the family. At the same time, the man at this time is learning literary knowledge. And now he feels that his body is getting stronger. Although it has not yet reached the level of genius. But it will be much better than when I was just reincarnated. But no matter how little exercise this body has, his condition shouldn't be this bad. When he did his first chi cycle, it can only be completed reluctantly. Because he has less magic power than normal people. Even the physical strength is less than half that of ordinary people. Forget it, even if I worry about this now, it won't help. And at this time, I saw Lu Suyin handing the man a note. I didn't expect it to be a hello. What does this mean? The man casually took out a sack of jewelry. All from self-destruction. Ultra-rare product of the era of destruction. And this priceless thing. He actually has a whole vault. Just now. Men don't understand at all. What does Lu Soyun want to express? As the get out of class bell rings, the man applied for a weekend away. Because he happens to have some things that need to be done outside. And at this time. But Lu Suyin stopped the man by shouting. But men are very impatient. Because he replied to Yu So-yeon's message. But he didn't respond. If something happens, please explain as soon as possible. Because he still has things to do. But he hesitated. Don't know what you are talking about. So what exactly do you want to say? But Lu Suyin actually just wanted to ask the man. How on earth does he not use magic? You can kill the goblin on the spot. Because this is completely different from what is written in the book. But at this moment, the instructor asked this question in advance. But the man was very surprised. Why did the instructor appear in front of him? After all, the man had offended him in the previous class. But the instructor didn't care about it. Because of the appearance of men. let him open the door to a new world. So he immediately invited the man to become his assistant. But the man refused on the spot, because he has to submit an outing application form. After that, only Lee Soyeon was left standing there. The screen changes. In the dormitory of Valhalla College. At this time, the man was rummaging around on his mobile phone. He needs to find a market. Sell all the treasures in the vault. Then he decided on a market. And the market only needs to pay the entry fee. You can trade freely, although anyone in the world can use it. But because there are mostly bad people up there, so over time it was called the black market. However, the reason why this kind of market can survive, come on, because the guy who created the market is a ruling sign. Because the guardian constellation actively protects the market, so senior officials decided to make it available for public use. The man then checked the detailed market rules and reserved a place according to the rules. The screen changes. The man arrived at his destination as promised. It seems this is the so-called market. But the man felt very strange, because it's obviously the first time I've come here. But why does it feel so familiar? Especially the sky here. It's exactly the same as what I saw 300 years ago. At the same time, a man in leather clothes called him. And the man immediately remembered. This person should be an employee in the market. So I stepped forward and paid the admission fee, and asked him if he knew where to trade jewelry. Subsequently, the market staff recommended the third area to him. There's a shop there called Morris's. Their prices are the most reasonable. Immediately afterwards, men were advised to wear masks to trade, because of the particularity of this market. All traders, they all trade with masks on. After stealing it, the man turned around and came to the third area. Are you what people call Maurice? The uncle gave a positive answer to this. So, the man said he had some jewelry that needed to be disposed of. But what was inside shocked the uncle. It's actually a product from the era of destruction. Just a tattered ring. It was sold for a sky-high price of 2.5 billion. And similar scraps of copper and iron. The man actually has a whole treasury. Just now, the uncle was shocked by the exquisite things in front of him. This is actually a product from the era of destruction. What shocked him even more was that the contents of this small bag are all the same. They are all products of the same era. However, based on all the assets that the uncle currently has, even one product cannot be purchased, because these are basically priceless things. So, the uncle suggested that the man go to the auction hall to auction. Although auctions can achieve higher values. However, considering the time-consuming and troublesome nature of auctions, so the man decided to package them all up and sell them to the uncle at a low price. This shocked the uncle. You must know that this kind of factory from the era of destruction, because of the age, making it priceless. And he has another important reason. That is the Holy Ancestor. As a Holy Ancestor who appeared only after the end of that era, have a strong reaction to the products of that era. Therefore, so even ordinary people who have no ability, this product can also be used. Signed a contract with the legendary S-Class Holy See. Magic flows in products in a unique way. And this is the only way to identify the authenticity of the product. Just when the uncle wanted to return home with a full load, only one person in formal attire was seen. Suddenly appeared in front of him. At the same time, looking at the huge deposit in hand. Today's men no longer have to worry about food and clothing issues. Even he didn't think of it. Just ate things from the vault. How could it be of such high value? At this time, I only saw a strange phone call. It's actually the instructor Lily's case. She wants to have lunch with a man. So the man agreed. The other side. The uncle was very surprised by the arrival of the people, because he is the black cat who owns this market. And for Morris, first time using anonymous application auction, feel very curious, because the real owner of the market is the Holy Lord. So, he needs to help the Holy See collect the information he wants to know. Then he expressed his intention to come. He wanted to see what Morris had put up for auction. What exactly is she? Unexpectedly, Black Cat would be interested in ancient cultural relics. So Morris took out all the artifacts. But the next second he froze on the spot, because the Holy See he signed. Very interested in this ring. At the same time, on the table, I saw that Lily loved to get straight to the point. Want to invite a man to be his assistant. But he refused. No matter what tempting conditions Lily loves to offer, no man is moved by it, if he can derive great benefit from it. He will still think about it. But what matters most to him right now is heading to the eye of the great forest. Then Lily proposed exchanging information with each other. If she gives information that a man is interested in, then the man should tell him, "How on earth did you kill that goblin?" Then he told Kui Yeling's recent situation. He is about to be kicked out of the family. He is the strongest warrior god in the world, to be stumped by a little contempt test. And he even threatened Beiji. If you don't help him pass the test, then he will never let Beiji go. Just now, the instructor offered to exchange information with the man. Subsequently, then the information that Kui Yeling was about to be expelled from the family informed him. But he said he was not interested at all. Then he turned around and left, because this is not the information he wants to know. But the instructor still pestered him. And at this time, he was very curious about the instructor. Why is he so strict in class? Because he is the instructor in charge of the maze monsters. If you were not strict when teaching, then students may be injured in actual combat. Basically, the success rate of killing monsters directly related to students' lives. I see. Then the man turned around and left here. The other side is in the Choijin family. Patriarch Kui Zongzi announced. The written test for family heir selection will be held in 3 weeks. The subjects of the written examination are Kui Zhenjian and Kuiyan. The winner will receive the Saint Cloth Mist, Blue Moon Sword's qualifications for signing a contract. The loser will be permanently expelled from the family. So do you still want to participate in the selection? After getting affirmative answers from both of them, the team leader ordered the group to be disbanded. But then Kui Zhenjian ridiculed him. Just an illegitimate daughter from a family. He is actually qualified to fight for the family inheritance. But don't expect to win the selection meeting, because Sielan only has the protection of the Holy See. He is incomparable to someone like him who has a holy work contract. Then he turned and left. At this time, he recalled his mother's last wish. Just make him the patriarch of the family, because that's the only way. Only then can he gain true freedom. At the same time, the man at the moment is taking classes at the college, because in college, exams are very important. If your test scores are at the bottom, then you will be expelled from the college on the spot. But this makes it difficult for men, because in actual combat testing, it's okay to say, "But what should I do if I despise him?" He must persevere in this academy until heading to the eye of the great forest. But he hardly knows how to get there. Then he thought of back, because he is familiar with these courses. So he gave the exam to back. But he felt this was very unfair. But soon he was threatened by a man. At the same time, the instructor announced that the course was over. And the next second, Kui Yeling stopped the man on the spot. Do you want to continue training today? Of course. Do you want to learn swordsmanship now? In fact, it's not that the man refuses to teach him. If you're just fighting against a man, he may not even know how to use a sword. Use then. The man decided to correct the way he used the sword. And it's time to practice that weapon. The screen changes. They came to the training room of the academy. And men are curious. How long has it been since he last used a long sword? Since training with a man. I have never touched this sword before. Then the man motioned for him to draw his sword. The fragrance is transported to the ring finger and little finger. And hold the handle tightly. And the next second, I saw a purple sword energy instantly wrapping the sword body. It does feel more stable than holding a sword with both hands. At the same time, the man signaled him to attack him with all his strength. Then he immediately made a gesture to draw the sword. The next second, I saw its magic power filling my whole body. But at the moment when he drew the sword, but the man raised his hand to resist him. Although it is much faster. But don't put too much magic on your feet. After following the man's advice, Juhyeok once again launched an attack on him. Just draw your sword and chop it down. The man ducked sideways. Although this attack is good, but the moment you stop, it's your death. Come on, attack me with all your strength. Accompanied by attacks one after another. He found out that because of the man's training of her, now she has become stronger. Sprint 20 kilometers every day. What kind of improvement will there be? That is to fight with the legendary god of war. Although it hasn't been able to hurt him at all. But he can clearly feel that he has become stronger. Just now, after a whole day of sword training, Juhyeok was already out of breath from exhaustion. So, the man announced that today's training was over. At this time, he finally fell to the ground from exhaustion. Although trained, his strength is no longer what it used to be. But he couldn't even touch Kim Juhyeok's hair. But in order to become stronger, he still needs keep asking men for advice. Of course it helps to train with Juhyeok. And he is very talented in this area. And from the opening ceremony, the man feels that he is very skilled in breathing techniques. The breathing method he uses is different from ordinary people. This special breathing method let men regain the feeling they once had. If it were placed 300 years ago, he should be a man worthy of becoming a man's apprentice. But it's a pity. Today's men don't have extra time. So do we still need training? The man gave a negative answer to this. But he just wanted to make a little joke. I didn't expect Juhyeok to take it seriously. Because he thinks that as long as he obeys the man's words, he can become stronger. Subsequently, the man told him to stop there now. Train again next time. The screen changes. Inside Valhalla Stadium. All first-year talents are concentrated here. And next, they will take part in Valhalla Academy's midterm exam. Then the instructor murmured, "This midterm test will be to conquer the dungeon. They will enter a man-made dungeon. Test as a team to clear levels." Accompanied by a roar, they saw countless gates standing in front of them. They can form teams freely. However, the instructor recommends that there be at least 8 people in the team. As for the decrease and increase in the number of people, it will be up to the student's decision. And they will only be based on students' contributions to dungeon clearing. To evaluate if the specified time is exceeded, then it will be judged as unqualified. And the difficulty of this dungeon is low. Then the instructor announced the start of the test. The next second everyone fell into chaos. And this was all within the instructor's expectation. But he still has a lot of surprises. Because Lu Suyin is organizing in an orderly manner. Weaving your own team. He knows clearly. This test, the important test, is your contribution to the dungeon. So just look for 6 suitable candidates. quickly conquer dungeons. Then he was ready to go and headed to the dungeon. The instructor was quite dissatisfied with the other students, because some of their teams have too many people. Even fights may occur due to uneven team strength. Then he motioned to the instructor next to him, ready to start grading. And at this time, Kim Juhyeok was the only one left in the huge stadium. Is the test not over yet? Have you already started grading? Then he noticed Hyeon beside him. So he stepped forward and asked, why hasn't he entered the dungeon yet? But he said that he was waiting for the man's instructions. And this can mess up a man. When did this guy become so obedient? Then he said, now he will enter the dungeon alone. Then I should go into the dungeon alone. But the man dropped the next sentence. This copy is not as difficult as imagined. Then he slowly walked into the door. At the same time, faced the invitation of the team. Hyeon turned a blind eye, because she firmly believes that she can do it. Then he walked into the door. When the strongest god of war meets the last boss in the dungeon, he easily killed it with just one blow. It even took 23 minutes to clear the dungeon. Won the first place. Just now, Hyeon entered the dungeon alone. At the same time, in the surveillance room of Valhalla, everyone at this moment, observing the students' combat performance. But the results are not satisfactory. So the instructors gave him low marks one after another. As expected. Although the rating is extremely low, but they never came up short in scoring. And the instructor, when Lee Sang-cheol was still a soldier, he is called a clear expert. The success rate of his strategy copy is as high as 99%. This is also the reason why he can give such a low score. However, there are still students who satisfy him. Those are the geniuses from the 5 major families. Among them, the most noteworthy student is Lu Suyin. He can reasonably arrange everyone's tasks. Let their respective areas of expertise play an important role. In the end, he killed the monster with one blow. Even the instructor was amazed by this. To be able to formulate such a thorough combat method, let the members of the group play a huge role. And he himself kills monsters. Get lots of points. If he does well in this midterm test, then it is only a matter of time before the performance returns to its peak. If I hadn't met Jin Zuhee at the selection ceremony, his undefeated myth won't end there either. Speaking of Kim Juhee, the instructor was curious and wanted to know what men are doing now. It can be shown that this person is not found. This stunned the instructor. So, he clicked on the list of testers in the customs clearance device. I saw Kim Juhyeok's name suddenly appearing above. Unexpectedly, he passed the test alone. It only took 23 minutes and 32 seconds. Although he is very good. But this shouldn't be a 17-year-old high school student. It can be done, right? The instructor then checked the man's playback replay. I saw the man's calm face. Even in the face of hordes of goblins, he rushed forward without hesitation. Just thrust out a sword. Then he froze the goblin in front of him on the spot. Even the monsters waiting for an opportunity on the wall. Also killed by the 7 swords. Immediately afterwards, it was 2 giant monsters attacking him head-on. I saw the man escaping in an instant. Then he swung his sword and killed him on the spot. This situation, even the instructors who have experienced hundreds of battles, everyone was dumbfounded. At the same time, the man also met the ultimate treasure in the dungeon test. This monster is designed for a squad of 8. At this moment, I saw the monster suddenly attacking the man. But the man at this time looked calm. Then only one arrow stabbed out. The monster disappeared on the spot. At this point, the man's battle replay has been played. Even the instructor felt very helpless about this. It seems that the first place in this midterm test will be the new. Congratulate.